Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today, for Carnivore Month, January, I wanted to have a very special friend on. She is actually in my Mighty Network, and we have gotten to know each other so much over these past couple of months. And she is an all in carnivore. And I really wanted to bring her on and let her tell you just a little bit about what carnivore has done for her, because her journey is pretty amazing, and I think that it can help a lot of people and maybe give some people hope that may think that they're kind of out of that right now. So, Donna, thank you so much for coming and welcome. Please tell everyone a little bit about yourself and go ahead and hop right into your story.
Thank you. I'm like so happy to be here for World Carnivore Month. This is so fun. So my journey, I've only been a carnivore about 6 months. Um, I grew up always thinking I was the fat kid, and so that just kind of made my whole life struggle with weight just that much more. But when I finally kind of hit my wall was around 2014, 2015. I weighed 326 pounds. And I went to the doctor and I go in the room for this consultation, and the doctor and the nurse are there with a vial of insulin and some needles, and they're going to show me how to use insulin because now I'm a type 2 diabetic, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that. And he's like, you've been exercising, you're not losing weight, this is your last chance, right? So I went on HCG, and which what just made everything 10 times worse years down the road. But I did lose a significant amount of weight, and I ended up about 160, 170. And I stayed there for a while. But when I started like reintroducing food, I just kind of like struggled with the whole lose a few, gain a few, lose a few, gain a few. It was ridiculous. And then the gain became more than the lose, and it was crazy. And then in 2018, I had been struggling for like a year with just total exhaustion. I was working 50, 60 hours a week. I had a part-time business. Then of course, I had grandkids and my husband, and I just was experiencing like I would come home, I would eat, I would go to bed. I was lucky if I could get up on time to go to work the next day, and that was pretty much my life. So I had found when I lost all this weight, I had found this lump on the back of my leg that they said was, oh, that's just fat. So finally, it started hurting. I went to the doctor, found out I had cancer, found out I had adrenal insufficiency on the same day, like within hours of each other. So I was just like, this is ridiculous. So I spent the next year going through treatment and just gaining and gaining and gaining. And I was on steroids for the adrenal insufficiency. And the doctor was like, you need to exercise. You need to eat less. You're eating too much. Track for me what you're eating. Show me. And so I'm like going to the endocrinologist in between radiation treatments, saying this is what I'm eating. And she had me eating a ketogenic, what she called a healthy ketogenic diet. And I didn't lose. I just gained and I gained and I gained. And I just got to the point where I was like, I I don't even know what to do. So I tried HCG again, and that just threw me in a huge tailspin. So I got online and I Googled, where do you go from a ketogenic diet? And I saw all these videos about carnivore, and I was like, all right. So this was like in June 2021, after 2 years of struggling with adrenal insufficiency, struggling with cancer treatments, and all the things that cancer treatment left me with, like eczema, and my hair was falling out. And it was interesting because my hair is falling out of my head, but it's not growing on my armpits and it's not growing on my legs. So I'm left with all this craziness. So I told my husband, I said, I'm gonna try and go carnivore. So I looked up a bunch of information and I tried to do it myself, but I struggled with cravings, and I still felt tired, and I didn't feel right. So I Googled some other information. I joined a couple of Mighty Networks groups for trying to figure out like how carnivore would go and what it actually looked like and what did it actually mean. I started grabbing books from everywhere. I read The Cancer Code. I read Why We Get Sick. I read Paul Saladino's book on carnivore. I read Sean Baker's book on carnivore. I read Judy Cho's book on carnivore, and then joined these groups and thought, okay, if I could get some community, maybe I would get better. And I did. It was like carnivore was definitely the best decision I ever made. And I think at the time that I started it, it was like out of just complete and utter desperation for something. Um, I thought I read that it was the ultimate elimination diet. And I was sure that I had some other issues, but I had gone to an immunologist. I had had some allergy testing done. There was like no such thing as food allergies, according to him, no such thing as food sensitivities, according to him. And so he just said, let me give you cream, let me give you this and your autoimmune issues. This is all autoimmune stuff left over from your cancer treatment, left over because your adrenals don't work. Of course, nobody knew why my adrenals didn't work. I was on like 20 medications at the time I started carnivore, and I was just miserable. Like I would take the medication would cause a side effect. I'd take a medication for the side effect. If this cream didn't work, I used that cream in conjunction with this cream. I was on 5 allergy medications 3 times a day because my skin was just like itchy, and I couldn't wear clothes, and those clothes I had didn't fit. And it was just craziness. So I started carnivore. I went all in. I I left dairy in, I left eggs in, I left some dairy in, I've left eggs in, and I did butter. Had coffee for a while, and I did sweetener. Somebody finally talked me into throwing out my scale because I wasn't losing weight, but I was losing inches. And I I just I got a journal. I started journaling all my non-scale victories because I felt like because I wasn't losing weight and now I didn't have the scale, that I had to figure out, I had to be able to judge, is this actually working for me? Um, so like my first month, my skin, like all of a sudden it cleared up. Like 30 days, my skin was like clear. I was like, wow. Um, Couple more weeks, my grandkids came over and I'm like running them ragged. They're in bed for a nap. I'm awake. Energy, cleaning house, cooking, doing whatever. Um, like probably 90 days in, you've never met somebody so excited to shave her legs in all your life. I remember I was sitting watching television with my girls, and Kira rubbed her leg against my leg, and she's like, "Grandma, you need to shave." And I was like, "What?" I reached down, I'm like feeling my leg, I'm like, "Score." I'm like, "Oh my God." And here I don't even have a razor anymore, so I had to go buy a razor and shave my legs. Um, so I'm almost 7 months in. So I'm at my 6 month mark. I have to write all this down because I don't even know. About 4 months in, I got another. So I had sarcoma, a spindle cell sarcoma. I had it surgically removed, but then I got a second one in the same spot, and my blood tumor markers started to go up. And so I doubled down on the carnivore, and I started cutting out cheeses. I left heavy creaming because I was still having coffee. I had like severe joint pain. I had a lot of oxalate dumping in the beginning. But like probably 2 months after my new tumor was found, my tumor markers were 0. And my tumor appears to be gone. I'm not totally sure yet. I've got to go in and get another MRI. That's in March, but my tumor markers are back to 0. Um, my autoimmune eczema, gone, no medication, no creams for that. My autoimmune allergies, gone, no medications. I mean, I have no medication for that. I had a radiation sore about this big on the back of my left leg, and 2 years in, it still hadn't healed. 3 months into carnivore, healed. I still have a teeny tiny spot that's a little bit persistent, but the rest of it has healed up. Um, I was pre-diabetic, that's gone. I had asthma, and I was on like 3 inhalers 3 times a day. Asthma's good. I was hypoglycemic. That was something that came from the adrenal insufficiency. I would go into these really low sugar falling, and I would just be like, I was in the store once and I didn't even know what was happening. I call my husband, I'm like, I can't see hardly anything. I feel super lightheaded. What's wrong? And he's like, where are you? And I'm like, I'm in the candy aisle. I'm getting ready to get your chips. And he goes, I want you to rip open any bag of candy that you see. I want you to eat it. And this was like before I went carnivore. After I went carnivore, no issues like that. I had osteoarthritis that has healed up. I don't have joint pain. I had a chronic vitamin D deficiency. I don't have that anymore. I had IBS with the alternating IBS, diarrhea, constipation. That's cleared up. Um, oh, I had vertigo. That was interesting. I had severe vertigo. I would get up every morning and I would have to throw a pillow on the floor, and I would have to stand on the pillow for like 2 minutes so that I could like function throughout the day. Something about standing on the pillow, like makes your equilibrium better. I haven't had to do that in 6 months. Um, I had migraines, didn't have to do that. No medication for that. I have chronic depression. I did go off my meds for a while, but the stress of my adrenals, I became like super emotional again. So I went back on my antidepressants at a half dose. I think eventually I'll be able to get off of those, but for now, I mean, it's a half dose. I mean, you go from 20 medications, and now I'm on some vitamins that I get from my nutrition, functional medicine woman. I get some supplements from her. I have my 5 milligrams of steroids from 30, and that's it. That's all I take. I don't have, my chronic fatigue is gone. Uh, my food obsession is gone. That's been the best thing. Like for me, when I was doing keto while I was sick, I would tell the doctor, I am hungry all the time. It doesn't matter what I eat, I'm still hungry. And she's like, well, you just have to ignore that. I don't even know how you do that. Like, I would be downstairs 50 times a day and I would be like, I just ate and I'm still hungry. And I was like, never full. I get up in the morning, I have bacon and eggs, and I'm not hungry again until late afternoon. I eat again, and I'm not hungry until the next day. I don't have all this, like, I'm not constantly sitting around going, oh my God, I'm starving. What time is it? When's my next meal? My sugar addiction's gone, my carb addiction's gone, and finally I feel better. I'm not 100% by any means, but definitely um, there was a time before I started where I thought my life was going to be more medication, and I was going to be sitting on my butt all day long, and I was not going to be able to enjoy my life. And I had retired because I was sick. You know, I had been like taken out of work on a stretcher twice. The job was so stressful that I couldn't manage my adrenals and manage my stress. So like, if you don't know anything about adrenal insufficiency, I equate it to like, you've got 10 spoons. Takes 2 spoons to get dressed, takes 2 spoons to drive to work and deal with the traffic, takes 1 spoon to do this. If it takes 5 spoons at work to deal with a stressful issue, then I'm out of spoons and I'm in the hospital because I don't have enough steroids to deal with my day. And so I had to quit work, and if I had known maybe early on about carnivore, maybe I wouldn't have had to do that. Who knows? But now at least I'm retired and enjoying my retirement and not sitting around putting my little pills in, you know,
The little containers.
yeah, trying to figure out, do I need to buy another pill container because, oh my God, I got to add another one because now I've got something else wrong with me.
Mhm.
And carnivore's done that for me. I hope I don't have to be all in carnivore all the time forever. But if I had to be, this works for me and it's great and I love it.
That is an incredible story. And you're still in the middle of it. So you're not even there yet.
No, yeah, because I work with a functional medicine lady, and I still have gut issues that need to heal. Like I'm still not losing weight, like so overall, I mean, I did lose initially. I lost 20 pounds initially. But I think that was like almost all water and inflammation. I'm almost positive that's what it was. And I have lost a total of about 30 body inches. So I've gone from like a size, excuse me, 26 to somewhere between a 14 and a 16 or a 16 and an 18, depending on where I'm shopping.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I have gone down in clothing sizes, but yeah, I haven't lost any weight. I've got a long journey of, trying to like change the way my body looks and fit in smaller clothes and stuff like that. I mean, this is just 6 months in, almost seven, and I've just gotten so much out of it already. I can't wait for like a year to come or a year and a half to come to see where I am at the end of my journey.
Yeah. Now you're onto the healing aspect of and sometimes I would love to be able to say that carnivore will fix all of your problems and you don't need any help while you're doing it. But Donna is one that proves that sometimes carnivore isn't enough and it does need to be supported with other things like gut healing. If you have a lot of gut healing to do, just eating meat isn't going to be enough. And I kind of wonder if that's where I am, because there's on my carnivore journey, I've not only stalled but started going backwards. We're gaining the fat, not, it's not muscle. We're not getting the energy. Both Richard and I are just we're sliding back down, even though we haven't really changed much on what we're doing. We don't have the ability to get the testing and go on the supplements to heal our gut. So we have to look at doing things a little bit different. But I wish that it really was magical. And if everyone just ate meat and fat, they would be completely healed.
Yeah, and I remember, I've been in different groups and talked to different people, and they're always like, eat more meat and just keep eating meat and you'll get better. But 6 months into my journey, and I know like blood work for carnivores is different. The guidelines and the references are not necessarily the same, but I know that my blood protein level has never gone beyond be above 6. And even on carnivore, with all the meat and protein that I eat, my protein blood levels have stayed there. And I think that is a malabsorption issue. I think that, I have H. pylori, I found out, and I always thought maybe I did. And I asked my doctor and I did the test and it always came back 0. I went to Danny and she did the tests and boom, guess what? I have H. pylori. I have all the symptoms. That's what I thought I had. And so, I don't think you can take as much medication as I've taken in the last 3 years. I don't think you can go through cancer treatment and treatment for all the autoimmune issues that I've had and then not think that your gut is messed up. And if you're not adding back the good gut flora, where are you going to get it from? Everybody says, well, you can get it from meat. And maybe I can, but it might take me a couple years. Whereas working with somebody in functional medicine, you get tested, you figure out what you have, you naturally get that stuff, like you said, support. And I know not all carnivores are good with supplements and all that stuff, but I'm looking at my health long term. Um, and I think that, having somebody to support that health journey is better than just eat meat, and don't think about anybody else or anything else. So to me, it kind of goes hand in hand. Ultimate elimination diet, let's add in the good things and let's put them together.
So you mentioned Danny, and I've actually had Danny on my channel several times because I too love Danny. And so she, forgive me, she's gonna kick me when she hears this. Someone was joking, and we kind of nicknamed her the Fun Med Nut because
Yes,
she's the functional medicine nutritionist.
that is her, my functional medicine lady.
Yes, she's the functional medicine woman. Yes, Danny is such a wealth of knowledge. Oh my gosh. I'm looking forward to the day that I can hire her and be like, fix me like you fixed Donna. So you are my
It
inspiration.
She is so great. I've learned a lot from her. One of the things I was most proud about getting medicine, I was most proud about getting off of is with adrenal insufficiency. When it was super bad, I could not put a sentence together to save my life. I was so I am articulate, and I have gone to college, I have degrees, I worked in law enforcement, I know how to talk to people. And I couldn't put a sentence together. I would tell my husband that thingamajiggy, that thing. And he would be like, Donna, and I would be like, that thing. I just couldn't do it. And I saw I saw a presentation Danny gave in another group about your steroid hormones and LDL. When I saw the pathway for your hormones, aldosterone, all the hormones for your brain, and what LDL did, I was off statins the next day. And I had been on statins for almost a decade. And all of a sudden, my brain, within like, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks, it started working again. My cholesterol is now high. My doctors are very upset about it. But getting off the steroids, eating the meat, doing all the elimination, and has allowed me to begin to heal my adrenals, because my adrenals don't work due to a pituitary issue that no one knows what that pituitary issue is. Well, I think that pituitary issue is it needed me to get off all the junk, get off all the medicine, and start feeding it some fat. And now my brain works, and lo and behold, now my adrenals are beginning to work, and they may never come all the way back, but they're back enough that I don't worry every day that a crisis is like right around the corner, because I would have like emotional conversations with my husband, or I would have arguments with my sister, and all of a sudden I would be in a crisis. And so I had to be super careful what I did. I couldn't like get angry and or start to cry and because it would just suck everything I had out of me. So, that was the one I was like most proud of. I was like, holy cow, I am. And it was because I talked to Danny, and she was like, yeah, this is what you need. Um, and we just happened to get lucky that, we had money in savings and to do that. But, if you have a chance to work with somebody in functional medicine that's good, um, and they know carnivore too, or even keto, if that's what you want to do. But for me, it was carnivore because I think I needed way more, I needed more elimination than, uh, than I would get with the ketogenic diet or anything, because I had been through cancer treatment, and that just
Killed
messes you up.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you were doing keto, was it the typical keto, or how were you doing it?
So she gave me this paper that had a list of things I could have. I was supposed to eat 50 net carbs a day. And it was net carbs, not total carbs. And my carbs were to come from vegetables. My vegetable list was spinach and chard and dark leafy greens, which we all know contain like a ton of oxalates, right? Which is totally not good for you. I didn't know anything about oxalates till I came to the carnivore space. And then it was also full of a lot of butter, cheese, and meat, really fatty meat. So there were like these chicken dishes she had me making that had like tons of cheese and, fat and stuff in them. And that's what she called you know, she even gave me a book from this book called Keto for Women. It's by Leanne Vogel. And she wanted me to do this. And there's a lot of great information in this book. Don't get me wrong. There is a lot. However, when you had to do up your macros and your calories, she had me eating almost 3,000 calories a day. I was doing nothing basically because I was still healing from, I was going for the first like 2 months that I did it, I was going through cancer treatment. I was going every day and getting radiation treatment. And then I was staying home on the weekends. The back of my leg looked like a piece of raw meat. I couldn't wear clothes. I couldn't wear underwear because of where it was at. It was right where my butt goes into my thigh. So all I could really do because of the way my leg was lay down so that nothing touched it. So I spent 2 months doing 3,000 calories a day, but I was doing nothing except watching television and reading. That's it. And then I spent another 3 months pretty much doing nothing because then I had to heal. It took 3 months just to be able to wear a pair of pants. So 5 months of nutritionally ketogenic diet, 3,000 calories a day, tons of oxalates, before I could even put pants on and go outside for a walk. And then by the time I could get outside for a walk, I was lucky if I could walk around the block, and I just gained and gained and gained until I was like 240 pounds, and that she had me doing this breakfast out of this book that was like I was doing butter coffees in the morning. There was this like granola chia seed thing that she had me eating. So yeah, it didn't look like anything I've ever seen anybody else do for keto, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Although people swear by this woman, and by her, by her guide. It's this 3-step recovery guide. And I know that there are people out there who've gotten something out of it, but that's what she had me doing. And that just didn't work for me. That just didn't work. And boy, when I first started carnivore, my first 2, almost 3 weeks of carnivore were awful because I had so much oxalate dumping. Oh my God, my joints hurt worse than anything. I didn't even know what was going on. And I was just like, everybody kept saying, it'll go away, it'll go away. And then I think I was like 2 months in when I heard about oxalates and I was like, oh, I had that.
Yeah. And what really stinks is that some people will oxalate dump for 10 years. And it
Right.
goes in cycles of, it's really bad. And then, no, it's not so bad. And then it's really bad dumping. And it's not so bad.
Luckily
Yeah.
for me, the only time I ever really ate like that was during like the 6 or 8 months, maybe closer to 10 or 11 while I was nutritionally keto. Prior to that, because I was never a vegetable person. I was like this junk food junkie. I like chips and ice cream, and meat has always been my thing. So I never liked vegetables, didn't like them as a kid, didn't like them as a young adult, didn't like them until I had to do nutritional keto. And the only reason I ate them was because she was like, if you don't, you're going to end up back on you're going to end up back to a type 2 diabetic. So I did it. So luckily for me, I didn't take in oxalates for a long time, like my vegan mother has been eating oxalates her entire life, you
Yeah.
know. So
Oh my gosh. Yeah. No, these doctors, oh, it's so tough because they don't practice health, they practice medicine.
I told her the last time I saw her, I've always really liked my doctors because I've always felt like they listened to me. But when I told her that I was going all in carnivore, she says, "Well, what are you eating?" And I said, "Mostly red meat." Oh, she had a fit. She was like, "You can't do that, Donna. Your cholesterol is going to go through the roof." She goes, "Then we're going to have another problem." And I was like, "Okay, I hear you." She's like, "Chicken, fish, that's what I want you to do. You can go in all meat, chicken, fish." I tried that for like a week, but it's not enough fat.
Mm-mm.
There's not enough fat to sustain, to keep you satiated. There's just not,
No,
you
not
know.
even a little bit. And with especially mental health issues and hormonal issues, you have to have the fat. And
Yeah, and I was going through menopause at the time too, because I've been perimenopausal since so I'm 54. I've been perimenopausal since I was 40, because I started my cycle when I was 9.
mm,
So I've been perimenopausal since I was in my early 40s. And I went pretty much full blown menopause, maybe a year before I was diagnosed with cancer. So
mm,
I've been on like hormone replacement therapy and stuff like that, so I already had hormone issues. I couldn't even get her to test me to see if I was insulin resistant to try and understand what I was doing. She's like, "You're fat. Of course you're insulin resistant."
I love that answer.
Right? Do you like that? I loved it.
So, so very helpful. And
Yeah, right?
what's funny is I actually started when I was 10. So my mom was 8.
Yeah, my
8.
mom too.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's a whole different rabbit hole that we could go down. I mean, we've literally been poisoning ourselves with these processed foods and chemicals and
Yep.
for so long that it is affecting our children, which everyone knows I'm pretty passionate about getting kids to eat the right stuff too.
Yeah, my grandkids have, since I started, my oldest granddaughter, Kira, she doesn't like vegetables. So her thing now to her dad is, well, grandma just eats meat.
So there.
So she's like, and grandma's fine. I tell him all the time, I wouldn't. She's like, she doesn't eat vegetables. Oh my God, she's not well rounded. I'm like, I wouldn't make her eat it.
No.
Why? She's going to figure out eventually, because her grandma's going to tell her that, doing something closer to carnivore is going to be better for her.
Yes.
Maybe not all in, but definitely, better for her.
Yeah, I definitely think that they can handle more than we can because they don't
Hmm.
have the metabolic damage that we do. And if we stick to organic and low sugar and things like that, I don't think it's detrimental to them at all. But then I've got my little stepson, Noah. He 8 years old, and I decided to do an experiment. We were like, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to let the kids try some fruit." I know it's fructose. I know. I limit them on how much they have, and we always get organic. Decided to let him have a banana because he really used to like bananas. 2 days after he's eating his bananas, talking to his mom, and I said something about bananas. She goes, "Oh, no bananas." She goes, "No, he throws up bananas." And I said, "Well, it's been 48 hours and he's fine." She goes, "Nope, it builds up in his system." She goes, "Sometimes it's up to 72 hours and then he'll start puking them up."
Oh no.
And I was like, "Huh." I said, "Well, they're really green bananas, so they have less sugar in them." And she was like, "Oh, I usually give him the brown ones, so maybe he'll be fine." 50 hours in, kid starts puking.
Wow.
He's 8. So what has happened already in his little body? He pukes with bananas, he throws up with green beans, does the same thing with almond flour, he puffs up and he gets up. So that tells me his gut is already screwed up and
Well, and
he's
they get their
only
gut
8
biome from
from
us,
their mother.
right?
Yes,
Through,
exactly.
right. So if we're, depending on when you have your kids, and how you've been eating, it's likely that you're passing that on to your kids.
Yeah, and there's so many
It's
things that we're
crazy.
learning now, and it's just like, "Oh, buddy, I'm sorry. We messed you up.
Yeah, who knew?
Sorry."
I mean, my grandfather used to eat bacon and eggs for breakfast, meat, butter. Um, he would do the occasional green salad. He didn't eat junk food. He just ate meat and eggs.
Mm.
And everybody always said, you're going to die of a heart attack, you're going to die of heart disease. I don't know if he had heart disease in the end, but he lived a really long life eating basically that. And as long as I can remember, and in every picture I've ever seen, he was always, and he owned a construction company, he built houses, and he was always lean, not skinny, but lean and muscular. He looked fine.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, he didn't have skin cancer issues. He didn't have any of those issues.
Yeah, that's one of the things I really try to get people to think about it from a different perspective, that if we didn't all end up with diabetes, we didn't all end up with cancer, we didn't all end up with mental illnesses, although you ended up with most of them. Lucky you. We don't all respond to every diet the same way.
Right.
And so you can't assume that just because you have the same things that Donna does, that it's going to work for you. I hope it does. This is why I really think that everyone should try 30 days of all in carnivore, if at all feasible and possible, please, without as much cheese. Not that much cheese. That is in one of my last videos. I said the dairy needs to be the bling for the outfit, please.
Yes.
Never a full outfit. But trying it, you could find amazing results like Donna has. And so you said that you don't want to stay all in carnivore the rest of your life. You will if you have to. So what are you kind of hoping that you'll be able to get to?
I always, like I said, when I first started carnivore, I started it because I had heard that it was the ultimate elimination diet, and I had heard about people doing sensitivity tests, food sensitivity tests, and I had tried that with my immunologist, and he was like, "Yeah, we don't do that." And I had thought about like taking out different foods, but um, I just felt like how am I gonna know? Like, how am I gonna know? I just found out that I can't really eat dairy. I have a food sensitivity to dairy. I've been eating cheese and dairy all this time and I feel fine, and then I find out I can't. So, my hope is that I will heal enough to lose weight and get back to a size that I am more comfortable in. And then at that point, I would like to add in some of the better fats like avocados. I like sweet potatoes. I would like to have the occasional sweet potato. Um, I love spaghetti squash. I'd like to be able to have the occasional butternut squash, spaghetti squash. There are just I would like to get to a point where I could just have additional things if I wanted to. Like I like red wine. I would like to be able to have the occasional red wine and not have to worry that when I wake up in the morning, my skin is going to be bright red. Um, yeah, I would there are foods out there that I like. I don't miss ice cream. I don't miss chocolate. I don't miss those things. I know that those are the things that got me to where I'm at, and I don't think I would ever really be able to add those things back in. But there are and fruit. I like fruit. Um, I like oranges. I like berries. I'd like to be able to add some of that in, and when I want, once or twice a week, maybe. Um, because I like those things. If I can't, I'm good. I'll stay like this because right now, really, this is all about my health, all about healing. And yeah, I just, and I'm glad that you said, that I hope and I feel like people who are sick, you should definitely give the carnivore a try. 30 days, 60 if you can. I mean, who can't do something for 30 or 60 days?
Mhm.
But your journey may not look like mine. And there's a lot of information out there about carnivore right now. It's super confusing even to me. Super confusing. Everybody's doing something different. If you take supplements, you're not a real carnivore. If you eat cheese, you're not a real carnivore. If you do this, you're not a real carnivore. I don't know what a real carnivore looks like because I took on the carnivore diet for my health, for no other reason except that I wanted to be able to live my life with my husband, hike, hunt. Uh, I haven't had a photography client in 4 years because I can't get out there to do it, because I've been too sick. So hopefully at the end of my journey, I can add in some foods that I like. Um, I've learned that like nuts are a big thing for me. I love nuts, but I've learned like nuts are not something that you should eat. I didn't know that until now. So I'll never add that back in. But my husband loves butternut squash. I love butternut squash. God, I would just love to, for a special dinner, be able to sit down and have a ribeye steak, a butternut squash, and a glass of red wine,
And that would be perfect because
right?
butternut squash is a winter squash and they are very low in oxalates. However, I have terrible news for you. Sweet potatoes are very high in oxalates.
Well, then maybe sweet potatoes won't be in my future, but if I could have a glass of red wine and a butternut squash, I'd probably be all right.
I have no idea about the oxalate count of red wine. We'll have to ask Sally when she comes on Valentine's Day.
Yeah. I
We'll ask
heard
her.
that red wine has some kind of like polyphenols that are good for you or something.
I don't know.
I don't know much about that, but I would just like to be able, I don't know that I actually like have know exactly what I want it to look like, but I don't want to fear going to a restaurant and
Mhm.
ordering something.
Yeah, you
I
want to be
want to
able to
be
be
healthy enough to not have to worry about that,
exactly what I
right?
was going to say is you want to be healthy enough to be able to indulge and get
Yeah,
the seed oils and not die.
right.
Because if I get seed oils right now, oh my gosh, for like
Well,
a week.
I don't know if I told you that my husband bought some things that he thought were pork rinds. Turned out they were like these square wheat puffs that looked exactly like pork rinds, and they were with the pork rinds at the store. I ate those things and my gut, oh my gosh, I was in pain. I had diarrhea. I had a rash. I just want to be healthy enough that I can indulge when I want to, not every day.
Mhm.
I want to eat for health, not as a sport, but I want to be able to go out on my anniversary with my husband and do something special and not have to say, where are we going? What do they serve? I need to
Mhm.
call the chef. I need to find out if they use seed oils. You know, I don't want to have to do that.
I agree. That
That's
that
all
is
I want,
that is 100% my goal too.
right?
Just want to be able to be healthy enough and I've learned my lesson. I never want to go back to eating the way I was before. I
Right.
I do not ever intend to get healthy and then I can go back to
Doritos.
exactly. That's
Exactly.
not what I want to do at
Right.
all. I just want to be healthy enough that I can go out to eat and if I want some hot wings fried in seed oil, that it won't
Right.
kill me. That
Yeah.
my
I mean,
body can fight it off.
exactly. Prior to my getting sick, my husband, we didn't go out a lot, but we did go maybe 3 or 4 times a year. We would go to a special dinner, just the two of us. We would just decide we wanted to go. And I would like to be able to do that again, but it's been since about 2018. I mean, of course, there's COVID and all that stuff, but we haven't been out to eat in a long time um,
Yeah. No,
because we just don't know how am I going to respond and am I going to pay for it for a week?
then it's not worth it.
No.
Yeah. We learned the hard way. We went out to eat a bunch when we were keto because we didn't understand the whole seed oil thing. Like we knew the oils that we should eat and we should avoid those, but we didn't understand that that's all the restaurant uses. When they
Right.
say butter, it's not.
Mm-mm.
It's margarine or it's a butter blend that has seed oils in it. So yeah, we figured that out the hard way. It was no fun.
Yeah,
Um,
keto to me was way more confusing than the carnivore is, and the carnivore is certainly can be confusing for people.
I
And
know there's so much hyper carnivore and animal based and all in carnivore with supplements, without supplements, with salt, without salt, with dairy, without dairy.
it's so nice, and it's nice to have communities like Carnivore's Angel, where you can come and meet other people that eat different ways, and you can kind of talk and learn, and you kind of, you have that support, and you don't feel so alone, and you can kind of figure out some of those nuances, um, and figure out how do you eliminate things, and how long is it going to take you to heal. And I mean, I remember when I first started carnivore on my own, I had heard that all these people had just lost all this weight immediately. And I was like, well, when am I going to lose weight?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody told me that I had to heal first, Um, so you really need to, for carnivore, keto, whatever, you got to pick and choose who you listen to and where you get your information so that you can do what's best for your health and be able to tweak it, so it
Yeah,
works for you.
it stinks that no one has a crystal ball to tell you which path is going to work for you.
That is true.
I wish I did. Oh my gosh, do I ever wish I did? But then I wouldn't exist. I wouldn't need to be here if it was
That's
that
right.
simple.
Wouldn't have to tell our stories, would we?
No, not at all. Speaking of your story, you have figured out this journaling thing and you are goals. Let me tell you, Donna's journaling abilities have completely blown my mind. I've got to start journaling because Richard and I were looking back at old pictures the other night of when we had been keto for a year, just started keto, all of that. And we realized that we were healthier then than we are now, but we don't really know what we were doing because
Um,
we have Carb Manager and we kind of tracked some of it sometimes just to figure out. And granted, it was pretty high oxalate at that point in time, the stuff that we did go back and find. But I wish that I had started journaling. And he keeps getting after me. You got to do it. You got to do it. I know, I know, I know. But now I have a reason to wish that I had done it. And now I need to be able to track what I'm doing now, what I'm trying, because what I'm doing and what I've done for the past 5 months hasn't worked. I have to
right.
change it. And I'm not going to, I can tell myself all day long, oh, I'll remember. No, I
You
won't.
don't. I used Carb Manager and other things for a while, and I used to actually have a digital journal on my iPad that I used. I made it all fancy. I created one and I made it all fancy, and it was great. And then it crashed and I lost all the information. So now I keep a written journal, and I keep it right here on my desk. And I follow Danny's little thing that she says, production before consumption, or I think that's how she says it, something like that. So I get up every morning, I come in here, I open it up, and I just am at night before I go to bed, and I just write a few things in it. Um, like this rash, like I woke up this morning with this rash. I don't know what the deal is, but I got up, I wrote it down. I tried to think of a few different things that I did. I think it's just from the detoxing that I'm currently doing, but who knows. But the thing that it really helped me with was the non-scale victories and keeping myself focused.
Mhm.
Because if I told you that all I've done is lost 20 pounds in the last few months, that doesn't seem like a lot.
Mm-mm.
When I show you that I have 3 pages of, I mean, I lost half a shoe size. Um, I've told you all the things that I have, medical things that have happened, but I sleep better. I don't wake up with heartburn in the middle of the night. I'm not constantly choking on stomach acid. Um, I can outrun my grandkids any day of the week right now. That won't be a thing forever, but it's a thing right now. So all those little things just kept me focused because I haven't always stuck to a diet. I mean, I am a yo-yo dieter. I have tried a lot of things, proteins, powders, pills, shots, Weight Watchers, you name it, I've tried it, and I've never really stuck to them. And I wanted to stick to this. I felt better and I really wanted to stick to this. So I used the journal to write down my why. Why am I doing this? What is it that has brought me here? I wanted to remember, how desperate I felt in the very beginning because I felt desperate. I felt like this was it. I was 52 years old and my life was over.
Mm.
I had worked all my life. My husband had been retired for 8 years. We had been doing a lot of hunting and stuff together. And now all of a sudden I couldn't do it with him. And I was like, this is it. This is my life. So I really wanted to remember why I started. And then I was like, well, it's got to be more than that. I need to like feel like I'm moving forward and keeping track of all the little things like I don't feel congested in the morning. I don't have a headache every morning. Those little things made me feel like I was moving forward, even though my journey is slow and I'm the turtle right now and I'm just kind of crawling towards the finish line, but I'm not taking any steps back like I have in the past. And that's important. And I think if you're going to try something like this because you are sick and you do feel desperate, um, knowing where you started, why you started, and seeing the progress that you're making is super important. And it can't just be the scale because the scale lies to you every day. You get on that scale and that scale lies to you. If you didn't go poop this morning, you're going to weigh 2 pounds more, or maybe you drank more water yesterday. And so today, you know, so you've got to have something, or at least I did. I had to have something that showed me and kept me motivated to do this. And community and reading that and looking at it every day and knowing why I started were all the reasons. And, I put it together. I put pretty pictures in it and I draw in it and, I make it mine and I use it every day and I take it everywhere I go. I go on vacation, it goes with me. Um, I use it every day.
I wish that I had started journaling a lot sooner because I wish that I had written down all of those really deep, dark thoughts of when I was super depressed. Because now I kind of think back and I go, was it really that bad? No, yeah, I think it was. Because I mean, I was hospitalized for it. Pretty sure it was that bad, but I never wanted, I never let my picture be taken when I was overweight. I did not want to see how bad it was. And now I wish that I could see how bad it was. So I encourage everybody who doesn't want to have your picture taken, who doesn't want to start journaling, you don't want to write down the bad stuff, do it. Because if you are able to move forward the way that you're really hoping that you would be able to, that I truly believe that keto or carnivore can do for so many people, you want to know where you came from. You want to
Sure.
know every single little step along the way that you've overcome. And it's such an amazing idea. I wish
It's
that I'd
hard
known about it.
It's hard to know. I did do the measurements, but you do the measurements, and if you don't remember exactly where you did the measurements or whatever, then you look at them and you go, what? What do you mean I'm half an inch more than I was before? I did the, I did do the uh, before pictures. That was super hard for me. I posted them on my Instagram page so that I would have them. That was super, man, did I feel like super vulnerable there. But I really felt like I had just reached a point where, like I said, I can't even tell you how desperate I felt when I started. I mean, it was awful. And I just had to see, I just had to know, and I needed some way to stay accountable. And the Instagram page, the community, and the journaling, you know, I've, I know what accountability looks like, and I know how it can help because that's what I did as a profession, hold people accountable. So I know what they teach you in counseling and I know all those things. So I was like, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to make myself do it, and I just got to the point where I was like, okay, this is the routine in the morning. You get up, you do this, you get your coffee, you sit down at your desk, you write it down, you keep it. And then people started asking, I posted things to Instagram, people started asking, so then I just kept me more motivated to do it. And I was able to share, like I shared with you, I share in the other communities. And when I feel, just the other day, I was like, I told Scott, I was like, this sucks. I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere. I want to get back into my jeans and I'm not getting there. And he's like, Donna, go read your journal. And so I pull it open and I read through everything that's happened. And I'm like, look how far I've come.
Mhm.
You're on 20 medications. And now, I mean, I'm on supplements for Danny, but medications, I'm on one. That's it, two. And that just keeps you motivated and that just helps it's easy to forget. It's so easy to forget where you came from. And it's so easy to forget how you felt then. It's why we don't stay angry with people forever, because you don't remember what you were really angry with them about. So if you can't even do that, it's easy for you to forget how you felt when you started your journey and where you were at,
Oh,
so
so true. Oh, I love that. And I think we'll probably just end it right there because that's what people need to do. You need to start journaling and tracking what's going on so that you can look back and see how far you've come.
yep,
If you don't take anything else away from this, take that away from
take
this.
that.
Yes. Oh, and I always ask all of my people that come on here, do you drink coffee? And then if you do, how do you take it?
So I do drink coffee still. I did try to get off once. That didn't go well, but I take my coffee with one egg yolk. On the days that Danny allows me butter, it's a half a tablespoon of butter. Otherwise, it is just coffee whipped together with an egg yolk. And I have one or two in the morning. And sometimes I'll have one in the afternoon, but usually it's just those couple in the morning. So it
I
just
love
depends.
I love my egg coffee.
It's good. I never knew that it would be so good. It's very good. I really like it. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
I do the whole egg because the whites make it even creamier and frothier. I'd heard someone said don't consume raw egg whites. But my question is if it's at 190 degrees, is it really raw at that point in time anymore?
Yeah, I had always wondered that too, but I'm too big of a chicken to try it because I have enough gut issues right now. The last thing I need is salmonella, right? I
Fair,
mean, for
fair.
God's sakes.
I'll give you that. So maybe someday the two of us will get together. We're going to go out to eat and I
Yes.
will make you egg coffee with a white. I'll drink half of it. You can drink the other half of it. So if we both get, at least we'll get salmonella together, right?
We can get sick together, right?
Exactly.
Deal. I'll take that.
That sounds like a plan.
Just a couple of bruised up souls.